Perfect.
Are we recording?
Yeah, do you have your microphone?
Hi.
Here, why don't you take that one so that I can hold my microphone.
Yeah.
What's up? Welcome back to the podcast. How you doing, Al? Welcome back. I did a solo without you last time for Companion.
I didn't want to watch it.
But we're here. We're back. Captain America: Brave New World. Do you think his dick is red? Captain America: Brave New World is the fourth Captain America movie. It is the first Sam Wilson Captain America movie. Pay attention, Nova. It's probably like the 40th MCU movie. It was made for, I believe, a reported $180 million budget, something like that, even though I don't really believe that. There were a lot of reshoots. And
Harrison Ford.
And Harrison Ford, like... That seems on the low end, but hey, they say 180 million. It's on track to make its money back like tomorrow.
It didn't look great.
Yeah, we'll dive into what we liked, what we didn't like. Do you want to try? Remember, I added this in Companion. We're doing a non-spoiler first, and then we'll get into spoilers later.
Okay.
So keep it non-spoilery. But Alex, can you in like 2 sentences give me the plot of Captain America: Brave New World? Like if you were writing the tagline or the synopsis for the movie, what would you say?
The plot is Captain America is having an identity crisis because he has 2 big shoes to fill.
2 big shoes,
and
not just one.
Also, this is a follow-up to The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine if that was
different movies?
That's what they should start doing for Marvel movies, is just be like, it's a follow-up to these ones. Yeah, basically Cap, he's been Cap for like 5 years now, I think, actually no, probably about 2.
I don't think they made it clear how long it's been.
I think they did. I'll have to double check this, but I think he's been Cap actually for about 2 years in the timeline, if that makes sense. He is called into action because a friend of his attempts to assassinate the President of the United States, but he's innocent, and it's a mystery. It tries to be a political thriller.
Who did it?
Who done it? Who tried to kill Harrison Ford? That's the movie. Captain America has wings now. So, non-spoilers first. What did you think about Captain America: Brave New World? Overall.
I think it has heart.
I think it has heart.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I think that it doesn't look great, and it was a little distracting at times.
The fact that it didn't look great? Yeah. It does not look great. There are moments that look good. Like, I think the action in this is actually pretty solid.
Sure.
They do a lot of like grounded hand-to-hand combat, especially in the first half of the movie. I'm going to try and gesture as much as I can with this thing because I have it. The first half of the movie, there's a lot of really grounded hand-to-hand combat. The third act goes very big and comic booky. But that being said, it's not the CG, I think, that looks bad. I think it all looks, for the most part, pretty clean. It's the backgrounds.
Yeah.
They're all blue screen.
It
doesn't look as good as it should, I think, because there are Marvel movies that look
but
better.
Are they in the volume?
No, I don't think this shot on the volume. I think this is mostly green screen. I do think there are some like soundstage sets that they built that look okay in the foreground. It's the backgrounds. All of the backgrounds look weird. They look wonky, and that, I think, is a symptom of Marvel movies not being able to shoot in the open now. Like, they can't shoot these movies in public on location because they get spoiled. You know, people are filming everything, so they've been forced to film pretty much everything in Atlanta.
So it looks like they're standing in a room, even though they're in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
Yeah. That's one of my big things for this movie. Not the CG, but the backgrounds just don't look right, and it takes you out of it a lot. Mm-hmm. But then once I think the action gets going, like that scene in the Indian Ocean, which is in the trailers, it's not a spoiler, Tiamat, which is a big part of the plot of this movie. If you saw Eternals, you know what it is. It's a celestial that started emerging out of the earth, and then Cersei, one of the Eternals, turned it to stone. And so now it's this island, and all the nations of the world are fighting over it because adamantium. Wolverine. Adamantium has been discovered on this island, and it is now the strongest metal on Earth. It's stronger than vibranium, which sort of kicks off the global politics of this movie. But anyway, the big dogfight, which you could say, honestly, even more so than the Red Hulk fight,
I think it was way cooler.
It's cooler. The second to last big action set piece is this big dogfight in the air over that island Once that gets going, it actually looks good. It's just like when they're taking off from the helicarrier. Or it's not even a helicarrier. It's just an aircraft carrier. Yeah. So the visuals, But what else? I mean, the story, the characters, the script. What else worked for you?
I really loved Isaiah Bradley.
It was nice having him back. I think it's important to say that up front. Like, at this point in the MCU and the Marvel franchise, if you're going into these movies and complaining about how clunky the setups and tie-ins are, like, this is movie number 30 or whatever. Like, you have to kind of buy in. Isaiah Bradley is a character from The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's a character from the comics. He's a forgotten Captain America from the 60s, right? Was it Korea that he fought in? I don't know, but basically they scapegoat him as the first black Captain America. They throw him in prison for years, and he's the one who attempts to assassinate Ross in this movie, Harrison Ford, and that kicks off.
Is that not a spoiler?
That's in the trailer.
Is it?
He shoots a gun at him, and that's the very first trailer for the movie. That's all people know. And then it's sort of why did he do it? And there's conspiracy and intrigue. But how is that conspiracy and intrigue pulled off? It's not a tight, like, paranoid political thriller like The Winter Soldier is, and it's trying to be that, but then it also has to be an Eternals sequel and an Incredible Hulk sequel from 2008. So it's got a lot to do that I wish it had just focused on being a political thriller, because that stuff does work, and I really like the Isaiah Bradley stuff.
Yeah, Nova, what do you think? Like I said, like, the movie has a lot of heart, and these characters are endearing, and it's very pertinent to, like, what's going on in the world today. And so I think there's a lot of value in it.
We too have a red hulking rage monster tearing down the White House currently.
Yeah.
I don't even think that's a controversial thing to say. Like, I said it and I was like, oh, is that too political? I think most people would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
That, like, the themes of a big rage monster who needs to take accountability for his actions, sort of dismantling the government from within,
and, like,
kind of relevant.
The country to its knees almost.
Yeah, and, like, the symbol, the Captain America symbol, meaning more than America, is important in times like that. And I wish the movie got like 100% of the way to that message, because I think it's the right message for a Cap movie now. I just don't think it fully gets there. So like the Cap symbology of, like, and Chris Evans said it when he was Cap, and Anthony Mackie got shit for saying it recently, but it's true. Captain America isn't a symbol of America. It's not what America is. It's what America should be or could be, right? He'll never give up. That's what's so endearing about this character. He'll always strive for the ideal version of that. And this movie hints at the strength of that symbol, but because it has to do so much other stuff, which we'll talk more about in spoilers, it doesn't spend enough time on that message, and I think it gets lost in a lot of this.
I will say, I think it was interesting to watch Mackie grapple with, do I stand with the president?
Yeah.
Which could be problematic, or do I stand for what Cap is? And he does choose the right thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's a spoiler because he's Captain America. Like, he's going to choose the right thing. But yeah, so I think this is a messy movie. It went through a lot. It went through multiple reshoots. For all of that behind the scenes, I'm going to take this off because I'm gesturing way too much. For a movie that went through so much supposed behind the scenes turmoil, it's fairly cohesive. I mean, it's pretty clear. ABC, it's a tight 3-act movie. It's a superhero punch-up at the end. It's a political thriller at the beginning. Mackie owns the shield. I think he really, really embodies that character. I hope that he continues to play that character for a while. Falcon is great. New Falcon, Joaquin Torres. Danny Ramirez, I believe is the actor's name. Did you enjoy him? Because I thought he was like... I loved
him. He was great. And I think... at first I thought it was a little wonky, but I think he added, like, a groundedness where it's like, yeah, we're talking about big, huge, like, big scale political issues, but he's going to make a joke about airdropping a photo to Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, he brought, like, a nice energy to it, and some people might call that, like, the Marvel humor. It's too quippy, it's whatever, but, like, I think that's what gives it this, like, freshness, this pacing. Because then if not, it takes itself too seriously. Like, let him joke around like a young kid would in that situation, or a young man. He's really enjoyable. Harrison Ford, totally, like, he commits. He does the work. He doesn't, like, half-ass it at all. No. I would say he's trying harder in this than he was in, like, The Force Awakens.
Definitely.
Like, he's actually acting here.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
I almost teared up a little bit.
Yeah, his storyline with, we'll get into it in spoilers, but his driving thing in this movie, I think kind of works. I don't think it fully works.
Sometimes it does.
But he does a great job. He commits. And to make that transformation into the Red Hulk work, you have to commit. If not, it looks silly. And so, yeah, I think enough of this movie is good that it's not, like, not worth your time, essentially. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I had fun.
I also had fun, for the most part. To talk about my criticisms, I think we have to get into spoilers. So, before spoilers, would you recommend people go see this in a theater, wait for streaming, or skip it?
Definitely a theater. I think, unless it's awful, like Doctor Strange or something.
Or if you don't.
Like, I think most Marvel
Doctor Strange? Doctor Strange 2? Yeah. Okay. I like the first Doctor Strange.
I think most Marvel movies you should go watch in the theater.
They're made to be seen in that environment. Go see them with the people who like them. If you don't like this kind of stuff, like, no, don't go watch Captain America 4. But if you do, it's good enough that I think go check it out in IMAX. It was filmed for IMAX. The dogfight, there's a fight at the beginning with Giancarlo Esposito's character, and the Red Hulk fight at the end, I think, benefit from big loudspeakers and all that stuff. Ready for spoilers?
What are we spoiling first?
His penis is also red. This is a sequel to The Incredible Hulk, like, half the time, because the leader comes back, Stearns, from The Incredible Hulk, Tim Blake Nelson's character. Spooky. And he's pulling the strings behind the scenes. He's the one who's infecting Ross with gamma radiation so that he'll turn into the Red Hulk as revenge for Ross imprisoning him with false promises of a pardon for years.
Like using his
mind. And he's been sort of pumping him full of gamma to make his brain keep growing. I want to show you, and I'll show this on screen. This is what the leader looks like in the comic books. And now you at home, since you can look at the screen if you've seen the movie.
Are you kidding me?
Does that look like the character that you saw?
Why did they make that choice?
I don't know. I knew they were going to do the big head for this, because at the end of The Incredible Hulk, they teased that his...
that counts as a big head.
It doesn't count. At the end of The Incredible Hulk, they tease that he's been infected with Bruce's DNA, and it's gonna,
big brain.
He's hidden in the shadows for the first few shots, and you just see these glowing green eyes, and I was like, ooh, cool, like they're gonna do it. And Tim Blake Nelson was talking about how he wore a prosthetic so he could feel the weight on his head, and then he steps out into the light, and he doesn't look good. I think he looks really stupid. Like a zombie? He looks like a zombie for some reason. And they never shoot him quite right. Like, in the beginning of the movie, they shoot him great. And then as soon as they reveal what he looks like, they put him in these positions where he looks stupid.
There's also that moment where, like, he's betting on his plan coming to fruition.
Yes, in the Indian Ocean.
And it doesn't. He's
Cap
wrong.
Interferes.
He's
scream.
On the phone. And he lets out the weirdest scream. And I'm just like...
Yeah, you didn't see Kraven the Hunter, but there's a similar thing in that movie where, like, something goes wrong and the guy who plays the Rhino goes like, ah! And it's just and you just wonder, like, why that take? Yeah. Why did you use that take? And yeah, so he has an odd scream. They're like, Sir, Captain America, whatever.
I'd rather he just, like, smash the phone or something.
Yeah.
Like, no head.
Specific meme reference. Yeah, I think most of my issues with Captain America Brave New World are like the leader, which they never call him the leader. They call him the buyer. He calls himself the hero. Mm-hmm. No one ever calls him the leader, but that's his name. Most of my issues with this movie revolve around him and the things that he introduces into the plot and sort of the convolution that happens there. I think that's where the movie doesn't work.
Yeah. I was more intrigued by what was going on with Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, and I wanted more of that movie.
After the attempted assassination, he gets arrested, and I teared up because it's like a very real moment of how this country treats black men. Yeah. And I think that's a huge message that is important when we're talking about Captain America and who Sam is as Captain America.
Yeah, and to clarify, if you're watching this and you heard any of these statements and your gut reaction is like, oh, it's Captain America, it shouldn't be political. You're wrong, and that's fine. Love you. Political. It is inherently political. It's been inherently political since the beginning. I have the... Hold. Captain America has always been political, okay? So get that out of your head. Captain America is now played by a black man, and it's important that the stories that we tell with the modern Captain America reflect modern threats and modern issues, right? So, yeah, I wish the movie stayed more with that, right? Yeah. Isaiah Bradley's imprisonment, Sam and Falcon trying to figure what was going on, behind the scenes, Ross and his involvement, right? But then it's got to get into Gamma and Red Hulk, and Red Hulk is fun. Did you enjoy any of Red Hulk at the end? Because he's only in the end of the movie.
I enjoyed that he was hot.
That's it? I had fun for a couple seconds, I think.
There was something wonky about him being I brought you to the cherry blossoms and think of your daughter. And, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it would have just been funnier if he went up to him and was like, sun's getting real low.
I was waiting for him to do the sun's getting low thing, but I think they did it in Deadpool, so I think it would have been... It would have been too many references.
All my favorite parts of this were Cap and Falcon and Isaiah Bradley.
And Harrison Ford.
Yeah. I think he does a great job.
And
I think the storyline with his daughter can be a little wonky, but...
Yeah, that's his driving thing in this movie is Betty has never forgiven him for going after Bruce in the original Incredible Hulk, because again, this is an Incredible Hulk sequel for some reason. And yeah, Betty shows up at the very end of the movie to say 2 lines of dialogue to Harrison Ford, the actor that she didn't even play with in the Incredible Hulk, because this is William Hurt's character. So it just didn't, there are things like that where you're I see what you're trying to do, but it's not resonating. Yeah. Gosh, anything else, in spoilers that you think is worth mentioning? I like his suit, his new suit. I always liked the white suit, but it I don't know. It doesn't move right when he's in it. He has this newer suit with shorter sleeves, and it feels like he can be a little bit more of a superhero in it. Falcon looks cool.
I really like their dynamic.
They're the heart of the movie. They carry
the whole movie. There's a really beautiful moment where Sam's being vulnerable and talking about how he was so concerned about becoming the Cap.
Yeah.
And Falcon tells him I never wanted to be any hero but you. It's the proof that there are people who need representation.
Yeah.
To see themselves in heroes in these movies. It is important.
Something I was actually talking about recently, because if you're interested in Star Wars at all, that fan base is skewing female more and more every year. There are more and more female Star Wars fans. It's a direct result of The Force Awakens being 10 years old now, right? Those girls have grown up and they had Rey, and I think that's so important, and people like to criticize it in the moment. They like to get all heated because, it feels forced. It might feel forced. There might even be some truth to it being forced behind the scenes. There might even be some truth to that. But the good outweighs the bad by a long shot. And people can feel themselves on the screen. And I love Steve Rogers. And Steve Rogers will always be Captain America. And I think Steve Rogers is going to come back as Captain America. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Sam's Captain America too. I know. That was what I was about to say.
We're in spoilers.
Bucky. And we didn't talk about the spoiler of the movie. Bucky's in it. And he was supposedly not going to be in it. Yeah. And it was so crucial that he showed up in this movie, and I didn't realize it until he walked in. He needed to be in this. The movie would have lost a whole... It was
missing its connection to the MCU, and not that...
And to Steve.
Not that cameos are necessary to make these movies good, but...
No.
It pulls you back to how he got to this point.
Yeah.
And why he is the right choice.
And why Bucky wasn't the right choice. Mm-hmm. And I think people like to, I wish it was Bucky. I don't hate Sam. I just wish it was Bucky. He was Cap's best friend. Why didn't he get the shield? I mean, Bucky is...
He's done a lot.
He's tortured. Cap knew that. Steve knew that. And handing him the shield wouldn't have been right. And Bucky knew that. And that's why, I don't know, he needed to show up, and he needed to be the one to tell Sam, hey, man, you're going to be fine. and I thought that added a lot to the movie.
Anything else?
Harumph.
I didn't like how it looked, but I really enjoyed what was in the movie.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
I have my criticisms.
The music also was very I don't know if you were distracted by it.
I thought about this overnight. The music
the whole opening scene, I was like, there's too much.
They're trying to create this paranoid feeling in the early scenes with Ross and Cap. He's asking Cap to rebuild the Avengers, and they're trying to make you feel that it's not quite right. So they just kind of blare the score a little bit, and it's distracting. And then I feel later in the movie, the score is absent when it should be there, because this is a Captain America movie. And when Steve would show up with the shield and whatever, have his hero moment, it was that dun 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 dun, dun, like it was this sort of big bombastic hero theme, and Sam didn't really get a theme. I didn't.
I don't know. I the only time I noticed it working was there was a moment when they were in like the bunker and Sam's confronting the president.
Yeah.
And there's this moment where the sound goes out and he tells him, "You're not Steve."
Yeah, you're not Steve Rogers.
He realizes that he has to go rogue. Like, he can't.
I'm so glad that line is not in the movie. In the trailer, he's like, "You're not Steve Rogers." And Sam goes, "No, I'm not." But that's not in the movie.
No.
And I'm glad he doesn't say that, because the movie is him processing that. Mm-hmm. And no, he's not Steve. He's got to do it his own way. The ending, I think needs to be mentioned. The fight with the Red Hulk is very short. And they just they hit each other like twice. Sam throws some of his feathers at him, and then he stabs him, and then the Wakandan like kinetic energy thing happens, and then Hulk gets back up, and you're like, "Oh shit, the fight's not over." And then Sam just goes, "Come on, man." And it's very obvious that it's a reshoot, because the lighting is coming from a completely different side of his face. It doesn't look like they were shot in the same year, let alone the same week. And so he when they first start the fight, he tries to talk Ross out of it, and it doesn't work. And he's like, "Shit, that didn't work." And everybody laughed. And I was like, good, the movie understands that, like, this is Red Hulk. He's not going to be able to just talk him out of it. And then they punch 3 times, and then he just talks him out of it. And he sees the cherry blossoms and whatever, and then and whatever. It didn't quite click at the end there. Red Hulk, for as cool as the fight is, and I don't even necessarily think he's the wrong villain to have go up against Sam in his first movie, it just was kind of shoehorned in there, and they tried to make it work as best as they could. But I don't think works.
He needed to be that. I think
in a better movie, but
maybe
this isn't.
I also liked his head of security, the former Black Widow.
Oh, yeah,
she was great.
Yeah, which was like a point of controversy. Like, she was going to be a pro-Israeli character, but the movie doesn't really take a stance on anything. She's a former Black Widow. They mention that she's Israeli, but that's about it. I think this is an okay Marvel movie. I think people are talking about it in the same breath as like Eternals, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Thor: Love and Thunder. I think it's much better than those movies.
Yeah. I really like Eternals, so I wouldn't.
No, I like Eternals too. I actually think Eternals is better than this. But I think this is more in the breath of like maybe like an Age of Ultron.
Maybe a little under.
Maybe a little under Age of Ultron, where it's just like a lot of comic booky stuff, a lot of MCU plot progression if you're into that, but maybe not like the best movie.
Yeah, it's not clean.
Not clean. But it's not long.
No, I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it enough. So yeah, Captain America Brave New World, I would say go see it in a theater. And that's about it.
If you want to see a red, sexy Harrison Ford, you get what you paid for. So
he is kind of sexy. Oh, I put it on backwards. Yeah, that's about all I got. What's our next movie that we're talking about coming up? The Monkey?
I think so.
I think Monkey
comes next weekend.
I think it comes out next weekend. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching with me. I know sometimes I feel like I have to really get you in for some of the Marvel sequels, and sometimes I feel like you want to see them on your own.
I do feel like Marvel has lost me a little, where I'm like, okay, there's a lot going on.
Some of it's great, some of it's okay, and some of it's
But I liked this.
Yeah, I enjoyed it enough. Yeah. So yeah, we'll catch you next time for The Monkey.
Yay.
Yay.